everyone. Welcome back to Taranormal. My name is Tara. Today I have with me Melissa.
Hello, everyone.
And you probably recognize her voice. She's been on a few times before. But we have been kind of stuck on a subject lately. And so
Yes.
I thought it would be fun to just kind of talk about everything we've been talking about and discussing and hypothesizing.
Stressing out about.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
So basically we're going to talk about the universe, and not as like when a lot of people say the universe, it's like
planets and stars and that kind of stuff.
But we've been like on this kick of like, where does the universe lie? Like, what's the end of it? What's beyond that? Mm-hmm. And the fact that there, in theory, are all these dimensions that are basically running alongside of us.
Supposedly.
Yes. And what that means, and that's kind of what keeps us up at night. But
yes, sort of the existential universe, like how we play a role in the existence of the universe. And I guess I'd like to start off with a question and something that I've always wondered about, probably since I was a kid. And I'm sure it can be explained by some higher mathematical equation or physics, but what lies outside of the universe? Like, yeah. I know I've, of course, looked into this, Googled, and read articles that if we travel at the speed of light, we can reach the edge of the known universe, meaning what we've been able to, I guess, explore or to reach. And it would take a human 40 years traveling at the speed of light. So we've gone pretty far out, I have to say. Mm-hmm. But it's very hard for me to comprehend what is outside of that. Or is this everything? It's just mind-boggling.
I know. And I don't know if this really classifies as like a paranormal subject. But to me, it freaks me out enough to where I'm like losing sleep over it for some reason.
Yes.
Like more so than like ghosts and, all that kind of thing. But it is just the most mind-boggling thing, because what is outside of it? Mm-hmm. And this is maybe a little off topic, but I just watched this documentary about flat earth people. Like flat earthers.
Yes. I am seeing this as like a new thing.
It is a new thing.
Or not new, I guess. I mean, Copernicus, who discovered...
Yeah, I guess so.
It's been, before we had things that could go outside of the earth and see what it looks like, people thought the earth was flat. Yeah. And then we thought it was proven that it was round, and now there are people who are like, but what if it's all fake? What if it's still flat?
Like, what if it's basically a soundstage? What if this whole planet, or I guess... what would it be considered?
Disc? Yeah. Plate? I
don't know. It's just basically a soundstage, and the sun and the moon are like lights that are just circling around us depending on the time of day, and it's all really interesting. But that led my question, what about like magma and things that are at the center of the earth that, you can't really explain away that.
Or hieroglyphics when they didn't have the technology to understand, and the sun was there then. It's like it's not being put up into the sky. Right. It's not something fake then. So.
And also, what is it sitting on then? If this whole planet or whatever it would be in that case is just a disc, what's outside of that? Like, and what is it sitting on?
We're just randomly floating through space,
but then they don't even believe in space.
Yes, yes, that's the other thing. Is that, what are we sitting on? What is, again, outside of us? What is outside of the blue that we see? The gaseous layer, if it even is gas, it could be solid.
Right.
And there's so many things that could be, so many conspiracy theories behind it. And say we take it at face value for what it is, that's still terrifying. If you want to look at the math behind it and the fact that the Earth is still spinning from the kinetic energy, the energy that was stored up, that was released during the Big Bang. And that's why the Earth is still spinning
moving
in its orbit. And And also that there's no, look, we're already getting anxious, that there's no friction to stop it. And that's, we're just hurling through space. And
the other day I was literally driving and I was like, wait, what speed are we going at? Like, the Earth is
we looked this up. Oh, shoot.
But anyway, I remembered it one day and I was driving and
We're going at a colossal rate of speed right now.
I feel like I'm on the freeway and I'm going at a decent speed and I feel like I'm going so fast. But like, if we're going like 500 miles an hour, spinning, and then...
Oh, and then like 23,000 miles per hour... And the reason we don't feel it is because, like, when you're in a... Because I thought, why are we not, like, our faces aren't peeled back and we look, velocitized, whatever that word is. It's because we're relative to the object that's moving. So we're moving at the same speed as the object. Here's where physics comes in.
I know.
We're moving at the same speed as the object that we're on, and therefore we don't feel it. The only time we would feel it is if it slowed down or came to a stop. How creepy is this?
So what happens if it comes to a stop? Is that perceived?
Too? Like, and what would stop us except for like an asteroid or something, like a meteor? Yeah. That's the only thing that I could think of that would come and just throw us off course or that would stop us.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, is our rotation dependent on, obviously I've taken like Physics 101. I know nothing about this, but our gravitational pull. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always wondering when I'm out for a run and I look up at the sky, what if gravity stops and I just go floating off into space? Like, what do? Grab onto a tree? Like, it just this sounds so ridiculous. But these are the things that keep me up at night.
Yeah.
But not last night because I was really tired. But these are things that Tara and I talk about.
Oh, we were on a big kick the other day, and then we were talking about that movie that you
Interstellar.
watched.
Yes,
and that's kind of a different
Miller's Planet, the water planet, where they land, and his comment is, "Let's go, let's go, let's go." For every 1 hour, 7 years pass on Earth, and I'm thinking, how can that be when they're human and time can only pass for them the way their cells degrade?
Right,
and it has to do with the gravitational pull because the gravitational pull there was heavier. Which to me would make you age more, but I don't know. The whole thing is just messed up. So in the movie, you can hear in the background ticks, and for every tick, it's 1.25 days. And I'm sorry. It happens every 1.25 seconds, and every 1.25 seconds is 1 day on Earth.
Yeah.
Freaky as you watch it because it...
Yeah. And you can hear the tick in the background, like the tick. So creepy to think about. Yeah. And just to think that... I don't know. I don't even know how to like process my mind in that way of understanding how time can be so relative, from one place to the next, how time can just be
different in different places.
Yeah, how it can mean something to everyone else.
And actually,
I don't know.
I remember this from a textbook. This was actually a physics problem in my physics class when I was an undergrad, and I remember... I don't think I did very well in that class, actually. Because my mind it's really hard for me to grasp these concepts because they don't... There's like a point A and a point B, but there's nothing in between. Like, I'm like, how did we get there? Like,
yeah.
And you just have to accept that that's what it is. And it's hard for me. So, I may be totally dumbing this down. But there was an example in there where it showed somebody on the ground on Earth. And it showed the curvature of the Earth. And it showed somebody up in a plane. And they set their watches at the same time. And I believe when the person on the plane landed and the other person had walked to the same destination, that the time on both of their watches was different. That the time on the person on Earth was like 2 seconds later than the one in the airplane.
What?
And it had to do with the curvature of the Earth and something. It was the weirdest thing. And to this day, I don't understand it.
See, this stuff is like even scarier and weirder than all the other weird stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, when we talk about like other dimensions, like getting into that whole thing.
Yes. Oh, I just saw a meme on this the other day
really?
That said every time a difficult choice is put in front of you and you choose one path, the universe splits into two.
It's like
and there's the path you chose, and then there's the other one.
It's like that movie Sliding Doors. It's all about movies.
Have you seen that?
You haven't?
Movie?
It's basically a girl. I won't talk too much about it, but just decisions throughout her day kind of lead to different things, and so it's most of the movie's just like a split screen. So one part of the movie, it's like she leaves to work on time and like catches the bus and or the train or whatever. And the next one, she's late or she has to come back home and finds out that her boyfriend's been cheating on her. So it's like the two scenarios of what could happen.
Oh
and so
my gosh,
it
that's
kind of
exactly
reminds me, of that. But the idea of like dimensions goes way beyond that because it's so many like layers of everything.
Yes.
Because what were you saying to me the other day? You were saying like right in the here and now, I could be waving my hand this way, and then in another dimension, I'm doing it, and it's like slightly off, but with the other hand,
yes.
or it's like just such subtleties.
It's like every possibility that could be in any moment and in any setting. The infinite possibilities of what could be. That includes free will and destiny, because I think there's a little bit of both going on. And it's fascinating and it's terrifying at the same time.
I know.
The cool part is that we do have free will, we think, in that we're making our own actions and whatnot, but what we can't control is how the world or to it. And that's the part that's fun, and that's the part that's terrifying.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when you throw things out into the universe, you're just like, you hear that saying, whatever you throw out, you get back. And in some way, it's true.
I believe that to a pretty large degree, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, just even thoughts of, if you wake up and you think, oh, this is going to be an awful day. And it turns out to be an awful day because you just set that in motion.
Which is crazy, because I woke up this morning thinking it was going to be a pretty good day. And it's kind of turned to,
Maybe your thoughts are in opposite mode.
Maybe they are. Okay, so this afternoon is going to be awful. Anyway,
there you go.
There we go.
But, I don't know, going beyond that, like, when you think about all these different dimensions, I think what I was saying to you the other day was, and this is where I was kind of spiraling, was...
Yes.
When we were talking about all these dimensions and how... When you were, like, showing me the trailer for the Interstellar movie, and basically it's like these dimensions are existing alongside of us. Yes. We just can't see them. And so it's feasible, sound very important when I say that if something moves unexpectedly or something happens and we blame it on, like, the wind or even paranormal, you go that far, could it just be someone in like another dimension moving shit around?
Moving stuff around. And the crazy thing is, though, that if they are in another dimension doing that, why aren't they doing it more often? That's the other thing, because I do see that. And maybe it's they can only visit us or find us in certain ways, because in that
maybe
movie,
it's hard to find us. Maybe it's hard to like communicate.
Because in that movie, that's how it was. In the movie Interstellar, he's in a tesseract. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's essentially, I don't know if he goes into a black hole or what, but it's essentially all the dimensions of time and space. And of course, it was something that was important to him. So maybe that's what he visualized.
Yeah.
And it showed every single movement that was made by his daughter in that room, and how he was beating at the wall and trying to get her attention, and he couldn't because he was in another dimension. So he just kicked and kicked and kicked, and finally some form of energy traveled through the universe, all the way through the universe to her, even though she was literally visually on the other side of this bookcase, and it knocked down a toy. And when she turned to look at it, she just knew in her heart that it was a communication from her father. And that struck me. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, what a cool way of looking at other dimensions. And I need to understand tesseracts more, because it's fascinating that those are essentially more dimensions than what we can envision and imagine. Yeah.
So could it just be like, if you're putting all these thoughts into the universe, like you've had your bee thing.
Yes.
That you've been on.
Yes, hexagons, bees.
You've been like seeing all these things.
My name means honeybee. Like,
Is it like another you in another dimension? that's like figured out how to communicate with you and is like putting these signs in certain places, or is just putting you in a direction that
something is sending me that energy.
Yeah.
I am a receiver now for this.
When they say the universe is I'm like, what does that even mean? You know, is
why am I so important that something would be sending me in the relative grand scheme of the universe?
But I'm like, would that just be like another you in another dimension?
Or is it my grandma Maida?
Or is it, or is it someone
she like,
that's passed on?
I see that you're supposed to do this. Is there something she sees that I don't? Has the future already happened? And am I messing it up by not going this direction?
I know.
And she's like, you better get in this direction quick, because
I'm going to start sending you bees.
I'm going to start, they're going to swarm you. But anyway, it just, the whole thing, and it feels so wonderful, and the idea of it is so lovely that, you know, I'm receiving, and of course right now I'm receiving beautiful messages, which is probably why I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But just that guidance, and it is a very intimate, not romantically, but just a very intimate connection with God or the universe, and it's profound. And I like to reach out to other people, and hopefully not sound too crazy, to see if they've had the same experiences.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have.
Yeah.
And if they don't have the same ideas, that they would maybe start thinking about that and start looking and feeling a little more in tune with something outside of just other people and things.
Yeah, because I definitely believe there is something out there, whether you want to believe it's the universe, something greater talking to you, if it's like past relatives or what have you. I feel like there is something beyond what we're just seeing right now. Like, whether it's a wall that's up or whether it's just like a sheer curtain. Like, something is beyond this right now. The other night, I think I was telling you, I was like laying in bed and I'm like, is there somebody in another dimension laying right next to me? Like, is that how it goes? Like, I have such a hard time, like, understanding and like comprehending this whole thing.
And then it leads to the question, the age-old question, why are we all here? Like, oh my gosh, that's like overwhelming. That's like a wave just came over me. Like, how do you even answer that? And the only thing I can think of is that we're here to listen to that guidance and make this world a better place. But to what end? It just...
I know.
I mean, it feels good. It feels good to do good things. But what are we... And yes, I mean, I have kids in it. Yeah, I can see I want to pass it on. But it's just... What is it that we're doing? And I just feel truly in my heart that when you do get those signs, that it doesn't matter that we know what the end is. It's just that we play our role. We play our part in it. And we take
and then we're maybe
the good
going
stuff out of it.
In the right direction. Or we are maybe like following these things that we're supposed to be following and on track with and what have you.
And
I feel like...
in Interstellar, it talks about how literally the only thing... Because, you know, when you look back on things... You can remember some of the bad moments, but for the most part, you remember the good.
Right.
And I love the phrase in that movie where it said, love literally is the only thing that transcends time and space. And it's true. I can't think of one other thing, even matter. I mean, you know, there's antimatter now. You know, it's like love is the only thing that transcends time and space. People don't want to remember the hate. They want to remember the love.
That's true.
And that is something where even when people die here on Earth, we remember them.
Like, the good things. And...
the good things about them. And you hope you do. I mean, if they have some. But it's the one thing that transcends everything and transcends every dimension. I mean, it's just fascinating to me to think about and scares the crap out of me at the same time.
I know. I don't know. I feel like this is not really going anywhere, but it is. Like, we just really wanted to talk about this. There are just so many other... like so many directions that my mind goes into. Like we were talking about when I was like watching the flat earth thing and I'm like, but if they believe in flat earth, what's beyond that? And that doesn't make sense.
Well, and how thick is a flat earth? Like, and things go pretty deep. Like,
I just don't understand what if the universe doesn't exist in their mind or their whatever, then what are we on? You know, are we just on someone's tabletop?
Yeah.
Is it like Men in Black where that planet's inside the cat's
the little
collar
rocket
thing? Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing I'm thinking of. What if we are, the whole universe is inside the cell of someone's body just floating around? Some other massive person's body.
Yeah.
And they're on
here's a
Earth.
who.
Oh my gosh. That is what it is. We need one of those big horns so we can talk to them. Tell them, quit giving us really bad Thursdays and quit this Mercury retrograde crap.
Oh, yeah, that's going on right now, and that's...
Yeah. We're not happy about that either. But anyway.
I'm over it.
I'm sorry. I never believed in it until now.
No, but yeah. It's been something
Things
else.
are backwards, and that's...
Like, for everyone, too.
Yeah.
It not just, like, one or two people in particular.
There's true conflict in pretty much 90% of the people I know right now. Internally or externally with other people. And... Universe, this needs to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring us peace.
Whatever the universe means. Whatever that is. Just make it stop. But I don't know. I could like spiral on this forever and just think about how fast we're traveling through space and what space is. And
we've gone what in this conversation? How many thousands of miles that we just traveled? Yeah. Like,
how do we calculate
that? That's insane. God forbid someone pulls the brake, because we're seriously, if our Earth stopped, I think we would fly off, right?
Because do you think the gravity would be strong enough to like keep us here? Or do you think we would fly off?
Well, I guess...
Or we would at least fly to like another state or something.
Well, gravity is preventing us from flying off, because we would have like the centripetal force as we're spinning this fast would naturally throw us off this planet. But the gravity, thank you, gravity, thank you, is strong enough to equally oppose our mass and hold us to this Earth. Oh,
it's so weird.
I sound so intelligent right now.
It's so weird to think of like all the little intricacies that like have to happen for it to all work out.
And one other thing that I am fascinated by, and maybe some people have seen these things on memes on Instagram, it's really where I find most of this, is the relative size of things. Like, we think the sun is big. Like, it's crazy to me. There's some analogies that say, if you take a pinhead size piece of the sun and you place it here on Earth, you'd have to be 90 miles away from it to be safe from radiation, all that kind of stuff. Insane. And then you have these memes on Instagram that show you, like, here's our sun, and then it stacks up like a row of 144, or a sheet of 144 of our suns, and then it stacks like 12 of those rows on top of each other, and then it stacks 6 of those blocks on top. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that is to describe essentially the biggest star that's ever been found, the mass of it. I mentally, even though they break it down like that, I mentally can't comprehend how big some of these things are in the universe.
No. I don't know. I'm still so self-involved that I can barely even wrap my head around like how large this planet is. And what exists beyond this is just like a whole other thing. And it's just like infinite. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, when you think about that, then it's like, it is feasible that there are aliens and that sort of thing that are existing. Like, how could there not be?
Yeah.
If it's so large and so, like, we can't be the only planet like this that just happened to, that
happen to have this environment. And maybe it's because Mars, even though it doesn't have our environment, I try not to be so... I really had to think outside of the box and not be so self-centered to think that any other planet, if you want to talk about life, maybe the definition of life on another planet is different than ours. It's a different dimension. Maybe on Mars, or wherever the planet is that has acid rain or rain that falls as diamonds or whatever, that on that Earth that there are beings or something walking and functioning and doing all that, and we just can't see them. Because isn't it something like our visible spectrum is this tiny little like visible light? We can't see infrared, we can't see ultraviolet, we can't see...
Right.
Or maybe we can't see ultraviolet, I can't remember. Anyway. But the fact that we can't see almost 90% of things that are in front of us or around us scares the ever-living
I know.
daylights out of me. Not scares, it's just, I don't know. It's like you think there's nothing between you and the wall but air, but there's so much in that air. There's molecules. I mean, we are packed tight, if you think about it. It's just we can move through them very easily.
It's so strange to think about.
Crazy.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. And I think I talked about this in the last podcast. I may have brought this up to you, but the night that I was in a meditation class, and all of a sudden the quiet room just started filling with all this really intense chatter around me.
Yes.
And then I all of a sudden heard somebody say my name. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think it was either I was astral projecting or something, or I was letting my guard down and letting my walls down to allow other dimensions.
Or it was quiet enough.
It was quiet enough for me, and my mind was quiet enough for me to recognize other things going on around me, other than just what I see. Just the black and white that's, that we all see every day.
Yeah, in front of us. The things we can touch and believe to be real. And it is all based on senses. So, touching and seeing and hearing and tasting and just feeling things around us is what we base our reality on.
Yeah. So, what is reality? That's
our next topic for
seriously for another day, I guess. It still freaks me out to no end, but I guess that's just how it's going to be, because there is no exact examples that I'm going to be able to see it clearly and understand it in its entirety, because there's just so much to understand and so much that we don't know, and all this is just kind of we're just kind of guessing and hypothesizing on, it's nothing that anybody's really seen. It's just this is most likely what it is.
Yes, and a lot of it's based off of mathematical equation. It's hard for me to fathom, and maybe here's what I'm going to Google when we get done with this.
I know.
When we talk about the observable universe, which to me observable means we've observed it, that we can see to that outer edge, but how did we see to that outer edge? And I think it was something we sent a laser. I think I read, and I'll have to look it up. We sent a laser, which travels at the speed of light, to see, obviously a high-powered one, to travel as far as it could possibly go, and it got beamed back to us, or it reflected back, which is crazy to me, because to me it either hit an object or it hit the edge of the universe. And again, it goes back to the question, if it hit the edge of the universe, the observable universe, what the hell is on the outside of it?
Oh my God.
I can't.
We could all just be hurling into a deep abyss that we can't escape from.
And there's so many things on this earth that are so profound that to envision something of that magnitude is almost impossible for our brains to comprehend.
Yeah.
And I wish I could unlock that part of my brain that would be open to that idea, but it's not. It's just not within our dimension. I don't get it. I don't get how...
I know. See, and that's why I wonder, if that time that I was meditating, was I just able to open my mind up to something?
Yes.
That was beyond myself and my here and now? Is that what that was? Or was it something completely different?
And just imagine, had you not shaken out of it, what would it have told you?
Yeah. Yeah. What could I have learned? Wow.
I do wish the universe... I'm going to put this out there, universe... that you would come to me in my dreams, and then I'd have, and give me some guidance, and then I would have even more to talk about on the podcast.
Yes, there you go. That's what it's all about, right?
And I need to figure out if I'm doing beekeeping this year, so if you could send me some insight, that'd be great, because I'm kind of in the middle right now.
I feel like you should. I feel like you should.
I do too. I do too. My bank account does not, but yes, I feel like
that. I can see that.
Yes.
All right. Well, I feel like we've touched on pretty much everything we wanted to. What do you think?
Okay. I think so.
Okay. So maybe we'll wrap it up for today.
Yes.
And
today.
If you like this and you want to hear more about all the crazy things that we have spinning around in our heads at all times, no. Or if we find anything else out that freaks us out, we'll let you know. But find me on Facebook, on Instagram at Taranormal Podcast, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.